away from it officially becoming an impeachment here, folks.
Okay. And start with that. We're not impeaching the fantasy trail. Hello. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Excellent lead. I like it. Yes.
I'm Matt, along with JT and Mike, and here we are, week 3 of the playoffs, boys. This is it. This is all the marbles, and Scarano, you blew it.
Yes, I did. Do you want to get into that game right off the bat here?
I wasn't really going to, but
you can. Listen, Ange had a very strong performance with McCaffrey. I was thinking that maybe Seattle's defense would stop him. And although Seattle played a really, really great game, wins and everything, McCaffrey just did come through where Derrick Henry didn't. Yeah. And Michael Gallup had a bad game. I was debating whether to play Johnson or whether to play Williams. Jake, you were leaning when we were at the parade more towards Johnson. JT I spoke with him. He said maybe Williams more, and I kind of flipped the coin, went with Johnson. It wouldn't have made a difference anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things where I'm just glad it didn't make a difference because I've only made one right call all year, so I wouldn't want it to be the one that cost you.
And I mean, so like someone like Gallup just putting up a 1. And you know, and look, I'd like to always think that this is kind of a great Cinderella story this year in general. That's all. I was 1-6 at one point, and I made it to the second round of the playoffs. That's all. And some of the picks that I did pick throughout the year have actually done well. The Higbee one was fantastic.
No, Scarano, you have
if
done.
We're looking at this.
A wonderful job, and I mean, I think you should be proud of the season you have. I
want you to consider my 2 first-round picks. One of them is like kind of a healthy scratch. He's been out all year. I mean, I don't know if I picked him 12 or 13, but I mean, Smith-Schuster, and then Mixon did come through in the end.
Yeah, and then Scarano, I feel bad though because you have to play Brian, and I don't give you much of a chance this week. I hate to say it.
Have you seen the latest projections?
No.
Closer than you think.
Yeah, I still don't give you much.
Yeah.
Closer than you think. Not that I always go by projections. I've been beating those. Look, any given Sunday.
Oh, absolutely.
Or Saturday this week with the Buffalo Bills playing at 4:30 on Saturday.
Yeah, and Scarano, we never got an official back. I do think we ought to get a word from Michael when we can, where we can get the payouts so that people can be a little more familiar going into this last week, what they're playing for officially.
And you know what? Shout out to Michael for, I guess, he was actually watching or listening to the trail. And
sent out that alley, which was fun.
Yeah.
He's one of our few listeners. All right.
Yeah, I
First time, long time.
It's one of the things I miss about doing it live on YouTube is we don't get the immediate text talking about how we're garbage and.
Oh yeah, any smack talk in general, especially from Rachel. But you know, I enjoy the banter.
Going back to the matchups, I thought there was a time this week where I thought both of the people who lost were going to actually win. And I know that kind of leads us into our second game. But Scarano, there was a good while I thought you were in pretty good shape.
I thought I was in good shape for a while too. It kind of went downhill around the second half when McCaffrey started to really put up some of those numbers, and some of Miller's garbage points, which they were, and it's fine. Don't get me wrong. So were DJ Moore's, but like some of Miller's garbage points started to add up a little bit, and it went sideways pretty quick.
Yeah, fascinating, man. I have to say this is the second out of 3 years that Angelo is going to be in the championship. And it also happens to coincide with, since this league's existence, Angelo has been in the championship and potentially the champion every year the Buffalo Bills have made the playoffs.
Which is only twice.
Yeah, well. It is what it is.
It's pretty cool. All right, so, I like it.
What's their matchup?
That was Brian losing with Lamar Jackson. He had Lamar Jackson on his team, and he played him, and he still lost to the Michael Thomas.
And there's really nothing he could have done.
Out like that, though.
Yep, that's probably the number one thing you can pin it on. But if you look at his bench, there is nothing he could have done that would have given him the win.
Yeah.
He has the quarterbacks, but it doesn't matter. They're all below it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Michael could have made a small move or two, but it wouldn't have been anything that would have shifted it. I feel bad for Brian. Brian had such a great year. He puts up a really good score. But he would have lost to both Michael and Angela, interestingly enough.
The only one, only one, and then yeah. All right,
so that's crazy. If you're looking at Brian, you know, the Patriots D came through, Lamar came through, DeAndre played pretty well. I don't know. You can't even be that upset. It's a great score.
It had to be incredibly.
You just got to
so
tip your hat.
When it's not us, but watching that on Monday night, even just me watching, and as a spectator, really, I wasn't really pulling for one or the other. I consider both of them good friends of mine, but just watching, like, I know that like that was stressful. Just watching the extra points come in by Lutz, watching whether Doyle gets a catch.
Oh,
I mean, like,
it was.
It had to be just one of the most stressful things I ever saw, and I just even as a spectator, I was stressed.
Yep. And how about the end of the Atlanta game where Julio just piled on catch after catch after catch and then gets the touchdown? And I mean, that was it. That's what turned it all. Brian had it. I didn't think there was any chance. And that, I mean, there's always garbage. We just talked about that. But this was not even garbage. This was a straight up comeback where they won.
Yes. So, no, that was not garbage points.
Right.
It was a very exciting.
What a conclusion, Mike. Yep. I mean, good for him. He always always has good years. He usually does get knocked out in the playoffs. I want to say this might be one of the first times that he's been backed into the championship since he won, which I think he did a couple years back. But we are going to have a repeat champ here. This will not be a first-time champ when Michael faces off against Angela, as it would have been if you were there, Mr. Scarano. But
there it is. Love it, Jay. Love it, man.
So yeah, I don't know. I was fascinated by that, but it was at least two good games. You know, nobody put up a dud. It'd be a bummer to lose for anybody, but you know, everybody's got to be at least pretty pleased with their scores. Grano, even you, 130 is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just didn't come through, and like I said, it's okay. I just like the idea. I would have liked the idea that we made a very great fantasy story for a team who's 1-6 to come back and to win it all.
Yeah, well, it was, but you know, Michael too, being a 7-6 and taking down the top seed, that's pretty awesome. You know, rolling through.
Yeah, we had the same record. You're right. Yeah.
So good for him, and it looks like the other matchups, for the most part, did not have major significance. The areas where it did have significance were Tamala and Casey winning affords them the opportunity to play for the consolation prize, and Jake and Rich losing affords them the opportunity to play to avoid the engraving prize.
I like playing to avoid.
I mean, that's really what's happening here.
Keeping
them involved.
Yeah, I hope it keeps a little bit of it involved, but
for poor performance. A percentage.
Yeah, and it's a small amount. It's nothing major. And then there's the most pointless game that tends to exist, which is it's going to be me and Joel, which are playing for really nothing, and then Colin and Rachel are apparently playing again, which after they played last week, I don't really understand how that works. And then they'll be here.
Because they're out of the playoffs and they're not playing for third place, so they're the only ones left.
Right. So I mean, it doesn't matter. There is no prize we give out for fourth or fifth, so it doesn't matter who wins, I guess. But it is weird they're playing each other again. And then Scarano will play Brian, as we mentioned, in the consolation. So do we want to look to those two and kind of see where we?
That's not really consolation per se. That's for third place.
Well, I consider that consolation to the main. You're right. Yeah,
there's money. There's money that could be won.
You're right. Yeah. I could call it something else, but you want to look at that one first, the third place game?
Sure. All right, let's see.
We're saying you thought it was closer than we thought, Scarano.
Looking at the projections, it is.
Even.
I kind of want to know what they have Cook projected for.
Yeah, and news came out that Hopkins may be a little limited too.
I did grab his backup just so Brian couldn't get him.
No, you didn't.
And you know what? Right now, Brian has Josh Jacobs in, who is not projected to play. He just got announced out today, so he will be probably
going to move out. I'm probably going to move out Johnson and perhaps put in Williams or Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, and I mean Mostert's been pretty good, and if he takes in for Jacobs, that'll change the projections a little bit, I'd imagine.
Okay.
Does Brian have to worry at all about Lamar maybe not playing the whole game?
No.
No?
Ooh.
Not unless he puts up a huge score again, like he did. But with the way
no. If the Bills beat the Patriots, that would definitely put him in that situation.
Yeah, I believe so.
But when do the Bills play?
Saturday at 4.
Oh, okay.
All right. I think there's a way to win here. I've got a way to win. I'm not predicting I will. I've got a way to win.
Here's the only thing against you is that he also has Winston on his bench, who has been unbelievable. So even if there is an issue with Lamar, he's got Winston, who is the last couple weeks has been 38, 37.
Listen. I see a way in. And if Cook goes out, that's going to be the first domino to fall. No backup for Brian. I took Mike Boone. Burn, Brian.
What happened to Madison? Wasn't Madison?
I heard. Listen, when Cook went out, Boone went in.
I know. I'm surprised.
Was inactive for the game because I have Madison on my team.
Okay, because Scarano, I would imagine if Madison is playing, he would be the backup. He was the backup all year.
But Boone took the snaps when Cook went out this past game.
Well, I understand, but did you hear what Tamala said? So it might have just been an inactive game for him.
Well, but you understand why I grabbed Boone.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying you may want to watch it before you throw him in there.
No. I'm not going to play him. I just want him so Brian.
Even if Cook's out, you may want to watch. I'm saying.
Yep. I see a way. I think this is a battle. I think it's closer than you guys think.
Here's what I would say.
The Yays are 230.
Mr. Scarano, you, buddy, had a very chill, I'm just happy to be here kind of attitude for 6 straight winning weeks. And the minute you brought out that dog, the little bit of confidence snuck back into your work. You get prayers.
And the brag
now you're telling us about how good you're going to do and how they're selling you. I think you're dooming yourself, man.
Robert Griffin humble, my friend.
You know what? There's a good chance we may not know until Monday night with this game, with Cook playing, and then you have Diggs going.
I like it. I like it.
True. And what about on Saturday?
Cook is a late game. I'm glad you pointed that out, Jamala. Oh, this could get him. He better even put never mind. I'll give him no advice.
He's got Kupp and the Patriots defense on Saturday, whereas you have Higbee and Texans defense. So you each have 2 players and pretty similar ones at the moment. So that'll be an interesting measuring stick.
Well,
and if he puts in Mostert for the injured Jacobs, he would also have Mostert on Saturday night as well.
Interesting.
Something to keep an eye on. I think that, I don't know. Obviously, he had a big, huge Thursday and lost last week, so it doesn't determine everything, but it does get it started. All right, you want to do a prediction on this week? For that?
Look, Brian's been a steamroller. Scarano, you've had a good year. Brian's had a great year.
Oh, burn.
Honestly, I think Brian's put up one of the best years our league has seen.
Since the curse of the
I completely agree. Yeah. No, I completely agree. I wrote him on the side and said that as well because I said, before the week was over, I said, listen, whatever happens, I think you deserve it just from a perspective of having a really awesome draft with Lamar and Patriots defense and Cook and like really hitting it in every area and then just killing it all year with the points. I mean, it was not just like he got lucky. This was a slog. Even when he lost, he did great.
Look, even last year when I was putting up great weeks consistently, I was not putting it up like Brian was this year, just crushing people.
Yeah, but it's similar to the playoffs in the NFL. I mean, we've seen this happen. We've seen that happen before.
Yeah, Scarano. As much as I'd be happy for you to win a little money. I think Brian has the best chance just because of the consistency of his scores. But I'm not ruling you out. I will predict him to win.
I'm going to say this. Remember how when Phil Simms and Boomer Esiason would be previewing the games and they'd say, I'm not going to make a call on this game because I'm announcing it? I'm going to do the same thing in this one.
Okay. Well, your confidence.
That's so lame. I can't predict it. I'll be announcing the game.
Yes. Well, where you have great control over what happens.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thanks, Pete Rose.
All right. What's next? Let's look at the championship.
Yeah, let's take a look, guys.
This is Michael against Angela, and right now Michael's projected about 14 points ahead of Angela.
And that is with neither of them having somebody that is projected not to play, as we saw with Brian.
Yeah. Both quarterbacks in the game do not have great matchups.
On the road for both, too.
But in a dome, at least for Rodgers.
True.
Outside in Chicago, I'm not the weatherman here, but December in Chicago,
I don't know. But
it's dicey.
I think what's really going to hurt her, though, is she has 2 Bills on her team, and they're playing New England.
Yeah, and she might finally get T.Y. back, but I don't know how trustworthy he's going to be at this point.
In the games, I have him in another league, and the games he has come back, it's been completely inconsistent. Then he seems to sit for another 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Tamal, I agree though on the Bills. John Brown, that's going to be a real tough one. You said she had 2 Bills.
No, she's now and Michelle's playing.
And then she has Michelle playing as well. So you're saying
I would not want to play the Bills. The Bills defense.
Agreed. All right, and that's fair. Okay.
And I could just see a big low-scoring game there in general.
Yeah.
What about on Michael's side? Anything you see on Michael's side as to favorable or unfavorable matchups?
Well, Gurley has not looked great, and going up against San Francisco, who after
San Francisco's defense has not been very good lately. And Gurley has been great. He scored 18 plus.
I always wonder about the arthritis in the knee.
For the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
He has Eckler playing against Oakland. I think Oakland just kind of packed it up. They're packing the vans, trying to move to Las Vegas without finishing the season. I mean, I could see him just going off.
Yeah, and you know who else has been really a monster? Devonta Parker.
Yes. Now, I will give you this. I'll give you a weather report on Sunday. It isn't looking that bad in Chicago as of now.
I wonder how the New England game is
excessive.
looking.
They're saying that it's just not going to have excessive wind. It's 46 as a high, 34 for the low. I'm just saying 10-mile-an-hour winds. I'm just saying every time I hear Chicago in December, I'm always like, oh, that's dicey.
The only other thing I might say with Michael is Jacksonville's situation. He's got Fournette and he's got Julio playing against them. Coughlin getting fired. I don't know if that's people now looking out for their jobs.
I heard something about Jacksonville. 25% of the grievances that are filed with the Players Association come from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few reports out this. There were a few reports out this week that they'd fine players up to $700,000, and then through grievances they got it all back, and it was multiple players that were getting fined.
And I heard from one of them it was something to the extent of he was just trying to get treatment outside of the organization. You know what I mean? Like medical treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
That's pretty crazy stuff.
I don't know. Fournette hasn't been great the last 2 weeks.
And I mean,
but
and the
he'd
coach
had
is on like the hot seat too.
Yeah, he had a good year. Not a great year. One great game.
But with a change at the very top, are they looking out for their job? Or are they just it doesn't matter anymore? Someone else is going to be here next year.
He's got one thing I'll say though is he does have guys who could easily move in and fill those positions.
But it's not. I don't think you're going to sit them. But you don't know how they're going to react to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see some guys you can put in.
But he has Shepard and Slayton on his bench.
Yep.
Looks like going back to Daniel Jones, and I think that actually hurts.
Oh yes,
hurts them if he wanted to put them in.
It absolutely hurts them.
Interesting. I would probably clearly say that Michael. I like Michael to take this, but I think every time that we've said, well, let's see if Angela can do it. Let's see if she can do it. She's found a way.
Yes, indeed. It is without a doubt true. 10-3 and sitting in the finals.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, she would have beat Michael last week with her score.
She would have beat anybody except for Casey.
Love it. Love it.
Well, you guys, Scarano, since you're not announcing this one, you want to make a prediction?
Oh, yes, because I'm not announcing. I think Michael's going to take it.
Okay.
I think he's going to take
it. My head says Michael, but I'm going to go with the heart and say Angela.
JT, are you calling this game?
Yeah, I am not. I think it's going to be Angela as well. I think McCaffrey is going to continue to carry her. He's averaging 30 points a week. I'd be hard-pressed to see how many other guys have ever done that in history. And he has an okay matchup. Indy's not bad. He's going to be inside, though, on turf. And they're behind a lot, dump off a lot of passes. I don't love some of the matchups for Michael. And Angela's just been riding some of these veterans. John Brown, Zach Ertz, Austin Hooper, Carlos Hyde, and they're doing it well. So got the Ravens going against the mess that is the Browns. I like a lot of what she's got.
It'll be interesting to see if she'd put in Hilton over Michelle, who actually has had a very disappointing season.
Extremely so, but yeah, she's played him every week. So I mean, I'd be happy for Michael because I think he always does such a good job, but I do think Angela's probably going to pull it out.
Now, you were talking about McCaffrey. Does the change in quarterback mean anything to him?
Nope. He's already playing with garbage.
I like that.
I mean, is Greer going to be worse than Kyle Allen was? I watched Kyle Allen throw 3 straight interceptions on horrible passes last week.
I mean, this is true. But if he runs it more than those short passes.
Yeah. But I was predicting that. But you know what, Tamal? Last week I was saying against Seattle, I was like, oh no, they're so well coached defensively. And Tamal, it didn't fall that way. He just still tore it to pieces, And
if I had to predict Tamal, I'd say that he's going to be having a little more escapability in the pocket. But you just can't run the way you ran in college. In the pros when you weren't like a transcendent athlete. And Greer was fine, but he wasn't like incredible. I have a buddy who's a huge West Virginia fan, and I watched a lot of his games. And, I think he'll be able to maybe escape some pressure and then just dump it off to McCaffrey like crazy.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to see.
Well.
They played the games, so we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah. So I believe that brings us to what will be our second to last fantasy trail. We'll come back next week and do a quick recap.
Most likely.
We're gonna work it out, man. We'll work out a time, man. It doesn't even have to be at night or anything. We could probably swing something during the day if we needed to.
Yeah.
And guys, it doesn't even have to be next week. It could be the week after that if need be.
Okay. We're gonna manage it. We're gonna manage it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe even do a live one during the playoffs or something.
Sounds great.
Yeah, sounds
all
good.
right, fellas. Well, good luck to you as the only one with any real skin in the game, and good luck to you, Tamala, for the consolation Good luck for recouping some of the lost money, and good luck for me for not having to worry about a darn thing.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
See you later, fellas. Signing off.